You're not broken. You're awakening, signs you're spiritually evolving. Have you ever had a moment, maybe in the middle of a crowded room, or lying awake in bed, or walking under the night sky, when everything just felt different? You couldn't explain it, not exactly, but something inside you stirred. A whisper, maybe. Not in words, not in sound, but something ancient, like the quiet murmur of your soul brushing up against the fabric of truth. And for the first time you asked yourself, what if I don't belong here? You didn't mean it in a self-pitying way. You weren't looking for drama. It was something else, a deeper ache, like waking up inside a dream that everyone else is still sleeping in. You look around at the world, at your job, your friends, the habits you've outgrown, and suddenly everything feels too small, like clothes you wore as a child that no longer fit your frame. You find yourself asking, is there more to this life than what I've been told? Why do I feel so deeply? Why do I notice things no one else seems to see? And most of all, what's happening to me? Let me tell you this, you're not broken, you're awakening. There's a reason the world feels heavier than usual. There's a reason your emotions seem louder. There's a reason why music touches you differently now, why you can't scroll through social media without feeling like you're swimming in a storm of energy that doesn't even belong to you. It's because the part of you that has always known the truth, your soul, is beginning to wake up. That stirring you feel in your chest, that subtle pull to retreat, to go inward, to look beyond the veil of what is seen and start listening to what is felt. That's not weakness. That's not depression. That's not losing it. It's the moment your spirit begins to remember. And it doesn't announce itself with a trumpet, it comes as a whisper, a quiet knowing, a trembling of the old reality as a new one begins to bloom. You may not be able to explain it to your friends. You may find yourself pulling away from social groups, no longer able to laugh at the same jokes or chase the same thrills. You might sit in silence and wonder why noise hurts more than it used to. Why certain people drain you when all you did was share a conversation. Why crowds now feel like thunder and solitude feels like medicine. These aren't signs of falling apart. They're signs of coming home. You are not the mask you were told to wear. You are not your grades, your job title, you're following your roles. You are not the noise of this world. You are the stillness beneath it. And that stillness is rising. It's what makes your heart race when you hear truth spoken aloud. It's what makes your eyes well up with tears when you see acts of kindness. It's what makes you restless in comfort zones. It's what refuses to let you live a half-lived life. This is not a phase. This is not a trend. This is not a crisis. This is the sacred cracking open, the beginning of your becoming. So if you've been feeling strange lately, sensitive, detached, overstimulated, exhausted by what used to excite you, I want you to know that you're not malfunctioning, you're not going crazy, you're not broken, you're waking up. And as the old begins to dissolve, you might start to see life with new eyes. The illusion becomes visible, the surface begins to crack, the normal begins to feel unnatural. Which leads us into the second stage of this journey, the cracks in the illusion. That's where we'll go next. The cracks in the illusion, when the world stops making sense and the truth begins to whisper louder than usual. One of the first signs that something deep is shifting inside you is this quiet, jarring realization. I don't believe in the world like I used to. Not in a pessimistic, bitter way, but in a way that feels like someone has removed a veil from your eyes. Suddenly everything looks a little off. The glossy smiles on screens, the endless race for success, the drama people cling to, the roles we perform just to feel seen. They all start to shimmer with a certain transparency, like a set on a stage you once thought was real life. You sit in a room full of people, talking, laughing, chasing things, and inside, a voice rises gently. Is this all there is? This moment is not a collapse, it's a dissolving. The fabric of the false begins to unravel. The matrix of beliefs, norms, and illusions you've been programmed to accept starts to tear at the seams, and it's terrifying but also liberating. What once brought you pride no longer moves you. What once felt meaningful now tastes hollow. You look at your job and wonder how you've stayed so long. You listen to conversations and feel like a stranger. You scroll through your feed and feel nothing. The things you were told would make you happy, the titles, the trends, the trophies, don't sit right anymore. And yet, while the external world is losing its hold on you, something inside begins to awaken. A longing, a memory, a soul-deep ache for something real. You might not know what you're looking for, but you feel its absence. You want conversations that nourish, not just entertain. You crave silence that heals, not noise that distracts. You long for connection, not the surface kind, but the soul-to-soul, energy-recognizing energy kind. And that longing is not weakness, it is a sacred clue. It's how the illusion crumbles. This part of awakening is uncomfortable, it can feel like grief, because in many ways it is. You're mourning a version of yourself that can no longer survive in the world that raised you. You'll question your friendships, you'll feel guilt for withdrawing, you'll wonder if you're becoming too much or too little. But what's really happening is that your soul is creating space. Space for truth. Space for purpose. Space for you. You may find yourself weeping for no reason, feeling anxious in places that once felt fine, avoiding certain conversations because they sound like echoes of an old version of you. All of this is normal. All of this is sacred, because when the soul begins to awaken, the world begins to look unreal. Not because it doesn't exist, but because you've begun to see through it. You've begun to remember. Remember what? That you are not here to just play roles. You are not here to chase validation. You are not here to shrink into someone else's story. You are here to wake up, to evolve, to embody something timeless, ancient, and powerful, to be the soul that sees clearly in a world that has been asleep. But awakening isn't just a concept, it manifests in your life. It shows up in how you feel, how you sense, how you change. That's what we'll explore next, because the soul doesn't just whisper, it shifts you. Let's look at the 7 soul symptoms, the real, intimate signs that you're spiritually evolving. 7 gentle signs you are awakening. Awakening rarely announces itself with fireworks. It isn't some grand epiphany where angels descend and the sky parts in revelation. Instead, it's quiet, intimate, unfolding slowly like dawn, a warmth rising inside you, soft but undeniable. And though no 2 awakenings are the same, there are certain signs that echo across souls like ancient drum beats reminding us, you're not alone. Let me share with you 7 soul-level shifts that might sound familiar if you're in this sacred in-between place, between who you were and who you're becoming. 1. You feel emotionally sensitive to everything. It's not just that you feel more, it's that everything, music, sunlight, you, the beacon, how your personal awakening contributes to collective evolution. At some point along your awakening journey, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start wondering, how can I serve with what I've become? Because awakening isn't just for your peace, it's for your presence, a presence that heals, uplifts, and lights the way for others. You become the quiet beacon in the dark, the spark that reminds others of their own inner fire. Your very existence begins to carry a frequency, not of superiority, but of stillness, truth, and openness. People may say, I don't know what it is about you, but I feel calm around you. Talking to you makes me want to do better. You remind me of something I've forgotten about myself. That's what happens when you become a mirror, a lighthouse, a living permission slip for others to awaken. Your purpose is not the performance, it's presence. You don't need a grand platform, you don't need thousands of followers or a polished spiritual brand. You only need to be authentically, consistently, softly, whether you're a teacher, a nurse, a poet, a builder, a mother, or a traveler. You begin to carry light into spaces that have forgotten how to hold it. You shift the frequency of the room simply by walking in with awareness. Your healing creates ripples. Every wound you face, every shadow you integrate, every truth you reclaim creates new energetic possibilities for others. When you break cycles, you make it safer for others to do the same. When you speak gently in a world that shouts, you remind others it's okay to breathe. When you lead with love instead of fear, you create a new blueprint for humanity. That is how one soul changes the world, quietly, consistently, beautifully. You're not just waking up, you're waking others. And that's not a burden, it's a blessing. You don't have to preach, you don't have to convince, just live your truth. Let your energy do the work. Let your peace be your message. Let your journey speak through your joy in a world that often forgets itself. You've remembered. And that remembrance makes you rare. Not above, not separate, but aligned with something far greater than the noise. You've returned to your light, and now you carry it forward for your family, for your community, for those who will find your words one day and say, finally, someone sees me. So here's to you, traveler, not because you've arrived, but because you've chosen to walk awake, because you've said yes to the unraveling, and yes again to the rebuilding, and yes again, every day, to being someone this world so desperately needs. A soul who remembers, a spirit who serves, a light that does not ask for permission to shine. You're not broken, you're awakening, and your path has only just begun.